Hello, welcome to Biology for You. In this video, we are going to discuss the replication initiation in prokaryotes. In the series of videos, we have been discussing different concepts in molecular biology. In this video, we are going to discuss how the replication initiation will take place in E. coli. So basically, the process of replication of DNA, that means the process of copying down the template DNA into the new strands or complementary DNA strands, so that the one molecule of DNA will be doubled after one successive DNA replication. So that is the process of replication, which increases and double the genetic complement of a bacteria. So basically, during the replication, for our convenience, we can divide the replication into three stages. One is initiation. So initiation is the process by which the replication will be initiated. That means all prerequisites like DNA binding proteins, enzymes that needed for the initiation of the replication will be assembled at proper regions on the DNA from where the replication can be started, and by that it will start addition of nucleotides into the newly synthesizing DNA chains. So that is the process of initiation. And the second process is called elongation. So during the elongation process, the already initiated DNA replication will continue and the newly synthesizing strands will extend until they reach the place called terminus. So until they reach the terminus region, the DNA replication will be continued, and that is known as elongation. And the third process is known as termination. So during the termination, the DNA replication will be terminated because of the reaching of the region called DNA terminus. So these are the three processes, but here in this video we are going to discuss how the initiation will be carried in prokaryotes. So basically, as we discussed, the replication initiation will takes place at proper place in the region in the DNA. So basically, prokaryotic DNA is a circular, covalently closed and double-stranded DNA. So basically, there must be a region where the replication can be initiated. So there must be an appropriate region, and this is known as origin of replication. So origin of replication is the region where the replication initiation can be carried, and in E. coli we can term it as ORI-C, and this ORI-C is a 245 base pair region. So nearly 245 base pairs will be present in the origin of replication, and this is the place where the replication will be initiated. So basically, what if the replication initiation will be carried at random regions but not in the ORI-C? So there may be bad consequences like loss of genomic integrity and loss of energy, because this replication is a tightly regulated process to avoid such type of problems, and it is also an energy consuming process. So to unnecessarily waste the energy, the replication must be initiated at appropriate place and right time. So for that, the origin of replication is employed, and this is the region where replication will be initiated. So basically, this origin of replication or ORI-C in E. coli is a AT rich region. So that means there is more number of ATs, A or T nucleotides in that region. So because of the presence of A and T, the hydrogen bonds, they only have double hydrogen bonds between base pairs, between A and T and T and A. So because of the double hydrogen bonds, this is easy to separate the two strands present in that region. So for that convenience, it is AT rich region, so that the strand separation will be easier at this region, and it is having repetitive sequences. So there are two types of repeats mostly present in the REC of E. coli, and that are, one is 9-mer repeat, that means 9 nucleotide repeat region, and the other is 13-mer or 13 nucleotide sequence that will be repeated, and 9 nucleotide repeating sequence will be repeated for 4 times, and 13-mer would be repeated for 3 times. And the sequence present in the 9-mer is mostly conserved, and it is TCA, TAT, TSE, ACA. So this is the sequence mostly repeated for 4 times in many species, and the 13-mer, coming to 13-mer region, the sequence would be GATC, TATT, 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 and T. So this is the 13 nucleotide repeating region, and that will repeat for at least 3 times in the REC. So basically, so for our understanding, we will draw this origin of replication like this. So if this is the origin of replication, the 9-mer sequence would be repeated for 4 times, and the 13-mer sequence would be repeated for 3 times. So this should be considered as 13-mer sequence, and these things should be considered as 9-mer repeats. So basically, this is the place, this 13-mer sequence is the place where DNA unwinding will be takes place. So at the 13-mer sequence, we can find the unwinding of DNA. So it is called as DNA unwinding element. So at 9-mer sequence, the DNA A protein will be binding. That means it is the region where DNA A protein binds. So what is DNA A protein? So DNA A protein is the first protein to bind with the DNA during the replication. So DNA A protein has high affinity towards the origin of replication. It will go and find the origin of replication and bind with it. So basically, DNA A protein is a ATP dependent protein, and it helps the other proteins to bind with the DNA as well. So basically, it is also a it will also bind with the DNA in cooperative phenomena. So if one DNA A is going and binding with the DNA at origin of replication, it allows the multiple copies of it to come along and bind with it. So that kind of multiple copies of DNA A. So this is the first protein to bind with DNA, and multiple copies of DNA A will go and bind with the region present in the REC. So basically, these 9-mer repeats are the reasons where DNA A binding will be takes place. So these are called as DNA A assembly regions, or DAR, DNA A assembly regions. So basically, these can be divided into 4 R boxes. This one is R1, this is R2, this is R5, this is R2 and this is R4. So 4 kinds of R boxes are there, and among these 4, R1, R2, R4 have the high affinity DNA A binding regions, and the other regions present in this sequence, this region on the REC are the place between R1 and R5 is known as R1 and R5. Between R1 and R5, the region is known as IHF binding region. So what is IHF? IHF stands for integrity host factor. So basically this integrity host factor is the protein that will go and bind with IHF binding region that present between R1 and R5 boxes. So because of the binding of IHF protein between R1 and R5, the affinity of replication will be increased. So it is a positive regulator for replication. So basically binding of IHF increases the replication of the DNA, and the region between R2 and R5, R2 and R4 is known as FIS binding region. So this binds with this region between R2 and R4 will allow the binding of FIS protein, and here FIS protein is a negative regulator for replication. So basically on the REC region, if FIS protein is binding, then the replication will stop, will not be initiated. And if between R1 and R5, if integrity host factor or IHF protein is going and binding with the between the region between R1 and R5 repeats of 9 mer, then the replication will be initiated. So what if both proteins are going and binding with DNA? So if both are present, they together increase the DNA replication. So both together acts as a positive regulator for the DNA replication. If both are present, replication will be initiated. If IHF is present, replication will be initiated. If only FIS is present, no replication will be takes place. So that is how the R boxes will work. So basically DNA A protein will go and bind with these R boxes. Or the DAR region is the region where the DNA A protein will be binding. But among the all other regions, R1, R2, R4 have high affinity binding with the DNA. So what will happen if the DNA will bind with DNase protein? So the 9-mer protein, 9-mer region will be coiled around the DNA A, multiple copies of DNA A protein. So because of the coiling around the DNA A protein, this is the place where negative supercoiling will happen. This is the place where the tension will be created. So because of that, the 13-mer region will also be changed. So the stress will also be created in the 13-mer region. So the unwinding of DNA will be carried at the 13-mer region. So DNA's binding will be happen at the 9-mer region, and the DNA unwinding will happen at the 13-mer repeating region in the DNA. So that is how the initial unwinding will be takes place at the origin of replication. And once after DNA unwinds the 13-mer region, what will happen? So two separated strands, single strands are created at very localized region, and they allow the helicase protein to bind with. So because the helicase protein or DNA B protein will come into picture. So the DNA B protein acts as helicase. That means it breaks down the hydrogen bonds present between the DNA with the help of ATP. So it is an ATP dependent protein. It will break the hydrogen bonds present between the double stranded DNA, and the replication bubble will be created. So once after helicase will bind, the separation of strands will take place and they create single stranded DNA. So what will happen? Basically this DNA B or helicase protein cannot come by itself, but it need a support of other protein called helicase loader. So once after DNA unwinds the 13-mer, what will happen? The DNA C protein, which also acts as helicase loader, this helicase loader will bring the DNA B protein or helicase to the site of replication. So it supports the DNA B to bind with the DNA, so that the DNA B, which is a hexamer of same copies of DNA B, that kind of hexamer will go and bind with separated strands like this to make a clamp. So this ring type of DNA B structure denotes the 6 copies of it, and they start unwinding the DNA with the help of ATP. They'll start breakdown of the hydrogen bonds present between the DNA until the strand separation will be takes place. So likewise the DNA strands will be separated. So once after DNA melting is carried at the origin of C, the replication bubble is formed already. So at the replication bubble, there is a chance of rewinding. So once after the strands got separated, but there is a chance, because of the complementarity of base pairs, there is a chance of re-annealing of two separated strands. So there is a requirement of protein called single strand binding protein, which will go and stabilize the two single strands so that the re-annealing will not be takes place. So the next protein that come into picture is single strand binding protein. Single strand binding protein is the protein where will keep the two strands away from each other. So it stops the re-annealing of two single strands. So once after SSB protein is employed, and it will separate the two strands, and then the primase will come. So the primase, what will the primase do? Primase is the enzyme which create the primer. So basically helicase, until helicase binding with the DNA, the stage is called pre-priming complex because it is before the primers are attached. So until here the proteins that are binding at the region of Hori C are known as pre-priming complex, and once after the primer is the helicase is binding with the DNA, it opens up the two strands of the DNA, hence it is also called as open complex. And once after primase is come into picture, it associates with the DNA helicase to make primosome complex. So what is a primosome complex will do? The primosome complex is the combination of primase and helicase, and it separates these two strands, and the primers will be created at each strand. So basically, what is a primer? The primer is an oligonucleotide molecule, mostly RNA. So this oligonucleotide molecule have the complementary sequences with the template DNA that is going to be replicated, so that it will go and bind with the DNA, make hydrogen bonds with it, and to which the DNA upcoming DNTPs will be added. So basically, why a primer is required for DNA synthesis? So basically, the DNA polymerizing enzyme or DNA polymerase is the enzyme which cannot start or initiate the replication by itself, but it need a support, because the DNA replication cannot be initiated with scratch, or de novo replication is not possible. It need a solid support from where the DNA DNTP addition will be carried. So for that it require a primer. So primer is a oligonucleotide molecule that go and bind with the template region, and thereby the DNA polymerase will be employed, and the DNA polymerase start addition of the or incorporation of the DNTPs into the form of newly growing DNA chain. So here the next protein, once after primers are created, the next enzyme is the DNA polymerase. So basically DNA, there are three kinds of DNA polymerases, but DNA polymerase 3 is the main replicative enzyme. So at the site of replication, DNA polymerase 3 will be employed, and this is a multi-subunit enzyme which carries core enzyme. That means the main part of the enzyme which is responsible for the replication. So this core enzyme is having three subunits, alpha, epsilon and theta, and the remaining part is known as gamma complex. So this gamma complex contains the gamma, delta, psi, chi and the tau. So these are the subunits present in the gamma complex, and this is the clamp loader. That means it loads the clamp to the DNA so that the processivity of the core enzyme will be maintained. So what is clamp here? The beta subunit is called as clamp or sliding clamp. So what a sliding clamp will do? Sliding clamp is the enzyme. Sliding clamp is the subunit of this DNA polymerase holoenzyme. It's a part of DNA polymerase which will maintains the processivity. That means it holds the DNA polymerase core enzyme on the DNA. So this clamp will make a this beta clamp will go and bind with two strands, and because of the holding of two strands, the remaining core enzyme which is attached with this clamp cannot go away from the replication until the replication is over. So that is how the sliding clamp will works. It slides through along the DNA and makes the core enzyme to replicate. And this gamma complex is the combination of enzymes that is also called as clamp loader, which allow the clamp to bind with the DNA and allow the clamp to unload when the DNA replication is ended. So during the end of the DNA replication, the clamp loader dissociate the beta clamp from the DNA strand, so the replication will be terminated, and it will also load the DNA to at the initiation of the replication. So that is how the DNA polymerase will assemble on the DNA initiation region and incorporates the first nucleotide to the primer. So the first nucleotide will be added into the DNA, newly synthesizing DNA strand, and it will make first phosphodiester bond. Likewise, the initiation will be started. So this is the process of initiation of replication in prokaryotes. Hope you understand this process, and if you like, share and subscribe to my channel and press bell icon for the further notification.